Hello and welcome to Cinema Chat. This is the podcast where we talk about the movies and the people that made them. And today I have brought the lovely Ginger Pauley back on the show. Ginger is a multi-talented singer in the Ginger and the Who's Your Daddy band, um, and comedy performer. She's been on Conan O'Brien multiple times, done several sketches on Conan O'Brien, um, host of Vintage America with Ginger, and also has the website vintageamericawithginger.com. And she also was the big star in the large blockbuster film, the Wild Man of I you know what I forgot what's Wild Man of what is it?
It's Kakadu.
Kakadu, yeah, Kakadu, yeah, that blockbuster movie. So I love that movie. I don't and for people that didn't hear us talk in the last two times we've talked, watch the Wild Man of Kakadu. Put it on YouTube. It's about what 15 minutes roughly.
Probably, yeah, it's a short.
Yeah, and Ginger's part in that is so great. It reminds you of Mabel Normand. So that's how great it is. But Ginger, thank you very much for coming on for the show again, and I really appreciate your talent, and I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much, David. I love having these discussions with you. I think this is our third one.
Yes, it is. Last time we talked about Clara Bow and It. And this time we're going to talk about a movie from 1925. We're reaching even further back than Clara Bow. We're going to reach back to a movie called The Lost World in 1925. And it was based off of a book written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And one of the things I really like about this movie, Ginger, is that we actually see Sir Arthur Conan Doyle before the movie really gets started. Did you see that part?
I did, and I wondered. I was like, "Well, he really looks like him." That wasn't really him because he wouldn't have been alive, right?
No, he died in 1930. No, that was him. Yeah, he died in 19.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, he died in
Oh, I
1930.
thought it was an actor playing him. Oh my goodness.
No,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was him. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was him. And I don't have a confirmation on that, but I do. I read something that said that he was. Oh yeah, he's listed in the IMDb. Yeah, and he died in 1930. That was him. I thought that was so amazing. Why is that the only time that I've ever seen that? That's pretty. That's pretty fun. Well, this movie is in the public domain, and it's kind of twice public domain. It lapsed after 28 years into the public domain, but by now it would be in the public domain anyway, because movies anything before 1926 is in the public domain, which is just kind of a random fact. So next year, everything prior to 1927 will be in the public domain, and every year from there, we get one more year. So when we get to those fun pre-code movies that I love so much, they'll be in the public domain, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with all the movies. This movie, Lost World's everywhere. It's on YouTube. And it's I watched it on YouTube and then discovered it's on two other apps that I have, and so
Okay.
So what were your initial thoughts on the movie, and was this your first time seeing it?
It was. It actually was my first time seeing it,
Mhm.
and I was kind of surprised, and it kind of made me think, well, when was King Kong done?
Yeah, 1933. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. You're going right down my alley. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought, wow, I wonder if this was one of the first times that they did this stop motion animation.
Yep, it absolutely was.
Films before before this, or is this the first one?
This it's likely that somebody did it without actually making a film. I think that it was probably tried on film, and then it was scrapped or whatever. But as far as we know, this is the first time it was done. And it's certainly the first time it's done on a feature film. And the thing about movies from the 20s is there's just nobody around to verify anything. And like this movie has, I think, 6 different versions, all between 61 minutes and 61 minutes and 93 minutes. And it was just cobbled together because it was in pieces. And I've talked many times on the show before, Ginger, about how films from the 20s and the 30s, for that matter, my friend Glenn Andreev, who's been on the show a few times, he says even movies from the 80s have just been tossed to the side because the director or producer didn't take care of it. So when we see a movie from 1925, we don't really know if we're seeing the Lost World, what the director, finally cut to. We don't know what was shown in the movie theater. There's no one to verify it. But
Right.
but no, the stop action. Is that what it's called?
Stop action. Stop action
Yeah,
animation.
stop action animation. Yeah. It was the first time King Kong. It was kind of perfected in King Kong, but this was the first time it was used. And I want to talk a little bit about the dinosaurs in a couple of minutes, but this movie, one of the things about it is it did have a little bit of overacting, including Wallace Beery, one of the greatest actors that ever lived. He played Professor Challenger, and he gets a little bit crazy in the beginning of the film. I don't know if you noticed that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There's a little bit of he gets a little excited about his the potential expedition, but the guy had over 240 credits and won an Academy Award. We give him a little bit of a break, but there was a little bit of overacting in the movie. That's for sure.
He's a really fun character.
Yeah, and he, of course, he thinks that that there might still be dinosaurs in the Amazon, and so he wants to, and he's laughed at. He wants to prove himself to be right, and gets a search, an expedition going for, and tries to get volunteers to look for dinosaurs. What did you think about that whole scene there with all these people laughing at him, and then all of a sudden, when they're asked, "Do you want to go on the expedition?" There were actually some volunteers.
You're right. Well, remember, he was out of college, speaking at a college,
Mm-hmm.
and all those young boys are, making fun of him, which was funny. And I do want to talk about a little bit about the Edward Malone character. I really found him he's very charming and a really great actor. And I looked him up, and I was like, wow, this guy did a lot. Apparently, he went gray at 20 years old.
Wow.
In the films, in all the black and white films, you couldn't tell. And he was one of these big leading men and did all these films, like all of his life. Had an amazing career. Lewis Stone. Was his name?
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up because I thought, wow, he's really the star of this movie.
He kind of is, and I think it's funny how they all want to beat him up when he tells them he's a reporter.
This was a really good part for him.
No, it was, and he was one of the few that didn't overact as well.
Yeah, he was great in this, and I was like, how come I've never heard of this actor actor before. He was amazing. He was really, really good.
And he was
Just really charming and just funny, and I mean, he just nailed it.
very good in the romantic scene.
Yeah, it's just he was great.
Yeah.
To me, he kind of stole the show.
No, he kind of did. He really did well in the film. And well, this expedition takes place in the Amazon, and I don't want to give away spoilers, but of course they do end up there, and they think that there's a possibility that they're stuck there and they're not going to make it back. But and then of course they do indeed find dinosaurs. It wouldn't be a movie if they didn't find dinosaurs. What are your what are your thoughts on the? We talked a little about the stop motion animation, but what did they look believable to you? Did you, when you put your 1925 goggles on, did they look believable?
I'll tell you what, the dinosaurs looked better than that monkey guy suit.
Yes.
I don't know what his character name was. He was obviously the villain. But that was awful. I was like, they should. I don't know. We could have made him stop motion. But he was that was a terrible suit.
Yeah, they continued to
incredibly uncomfortable.
Ginger, they continued to do that in Hollywood for another 40 years. Put people in gorilla suits.
Yep.
Hey,
some of the modern movies in the 90s, there was I'm trying to remember what it was. There was a movie about the jungles, and they actually hired actors and athletes to play the monkeys.
Yeah, and I just now thought of, I just watched the movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, and in that movie they use a gorilla that's a human inside. It's like, what the heck? Do they not? Can they? Is it not obvious to but here we are, and
yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, all the way to the 90s. It's crazy.
I know it. Yeah. So the dinosaurs, I really didn't expect that. I thought, this. Either they were the first, or it's just the first time I've seen this. But I thought it was very similar to King Kong, which is much later, as you said, and the Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
Where they give the dinosaurs this personality. Obviously you're learning who the good guys and the bad guys. Obviously, the brontosauruses are the good guys, and the T-Rexes are the bad guys. But it's funny to me when they give the dinosaurs personality. And one will bite the other, and the other will look at themselves and touch the blood and look at it, and then look kind of mad. Go after them again, and they did a lot of that in King Kong and all the monster movies,
Yeah, I would say they had this movie has a lot more in common with King Kong in 1933 than it does with Jurassic Park in 1993. I think the storyline and the effects are very similar, and I think what they did with King Kong 8 years later is that somebody decided, let's do something similar to the Lost World, but they took the idea and they perfected it, and I think it was fantastic. I did a show on all the King Kong movies right before the pandemic started. As a matter of fact, it was I literally saw the movie I saw Ben Mankiewicz introduce it in the movie theater the Sunday before everything got shut down, and I saw that movie not for the first time, but I saw it on the big screen, and yeah, it's very similar to the Lost World, and I think the reason why the Lost World is probably not looked at as as this real serious film is probably because of King Kong. And I think King Kong just took it and twisted it and made it better. And of course, 8 years later, you have hindsight. You also have a few things advancing in films, and you had sound to help you out too. If
Right.
so by 1933 they had figured sound out. Funny, if you watch a sound movie from 1929, you can tell that directors didn't know what to do with sound, but 3 or 4 years later they were ready for it. And so
Right.
it's kind of funny. But yeah, you were absolutely right on the money, I believe, with the King Kong comparison. And let's see, one of the things I felt that this movie did suffer from a little bit was there were too many title cards.
Oh.
I think we spent half our time reading, and half our time looking at the story. Did you feel that way in at least the first 3 quarters of the movie?
Well, yes and no. There was a lot going on in the beginning until
Yeah.
they actually get to the expedition.
Yeah.
So you don't really know who everyone is, so they kind of need it,
Yeah.
you know.
They were kind of
Once they
stuck.
get into the jungle and there's, more to see, there's a little less. But, it seems like in American cinema, in American theater too, they have to dumb it down for us. For some reason, they have to explain everything to their audience.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed this in theater and films too. If you watch a film from France or you watch a film from England, they don't have to spell everything out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, one of my favorite French films is Amelie, and it moves quickly, and they didn't dumb it down for us. You know what I mean? It's intelligent and it's smart and it's quick moving. But a lot of American films, certainly during in the beginning, seem to be symbolized. If it were a film made somewhere else, it might not as be as simplified. Anyway, just something that I noticed.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I think you're absolutely right. I think that for some reason there are a lot of filmmakers that feel like it's necessary to break it down. I don't know if it's attention span or what it is, but it does seem to be that way. I wanted to do a comparison a little bit of the dinosaurs in this movie and and then and talk about just for a minute other dinosaur movies that would follow it. Of course, we talked about King Kong, 1933. Did you ever see the TV show Land of the Lost?
Yes, as you were talking about that, I thought of that.
Yeah,
I thought, wow, between this film and the 70s, the dinosaurs in Land of the Lost were not much better.
No. And as a matter of fact, do you know what you're going to flip when I tell you, if you don't know already? The dinosaurs in Land of the Lost were sock puppets.
Really?
Yeah.
They're not stop motion?
Yeah, there were sock puppets. Sock puppets.
I did not know that. I thought they were stop motion.
When you find out they're sock puppets, and now I guarantee if you YouTube it later after we're done, you see something, you'll see like YouTube the theme music, and you'll be able to get that easily. And then you'll see at the very end, you'll see the dinosaur roar at the end, and you can tell it's a sock puppet when once you know that's what it is. Yeah, it becomes fairly obvious only when you know that's what it is. And
I'm never gonna unsee it. I'm never gonna unsee it.
No, but I watched that show religiously when I was a child. That Saturday morning meant Land of the Lost was coming on. That's what that meant to me. So I have a little bit of of a thing for dinosaurs, and they do fascinate me. But but then you compare it to, say, Jurassic Park, and the ensuing sequels. Despite we could say talk all day about whether they were actually good films. I think the first one was pretty close to great, and then it fell off from there. I really do like The Lost World 1997 as well. I like the dinosaurs peeking in people's windows in San Diego. I do like that. But after that, it really kind of tailed off, and I think the more recent ones just aren't as much fun as those first two were. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I was working at Universal when the first one came out. Was it 97?
Yeah, 93.
93. Okay, so this was the summer that before I started working there, and they had this huge premiere on the City Walk there. They made most of the movie there. Well, not most of the movie. I mean, on the lower lot, but they went off in some island. I can't remember where to film, but it was a huge deal when it came out. I mean, they had these huge displays, and they did a walkthrough on the lower lot where you can walk through and see how they made the dinosaurs, and they had the scenes set up like in the kitchen with the what were those called? In the kitchen scene in Jurassic Park, the first one, the Velociraptor.
Oh yeah, right. Right.
Yeah, and I mean, gosh, they did so well with those. Some of them were animatronic, and they just, I mean, up close, they just looked amazing.
And that was right when the CGI thing started to come. Like there's a little tiny bit of CGI in that movie, but it was still mostly practical effects. Which I've talked many times on this show about my I've got people that are younger than I am that want to beat me up very badly just because I tell them, hey, look, a film from 1980 is a modern film, and I even say a film from 1960 is a modern film. I like the modern era I like to think of it as anything between 1960 and 2005. 2005 was kind of like that drawing line where they started making everything with CGI. And that's also when comedy started to disappear. Comedies really, I mean, the last great comedy, was Tropic Thunder. And that's a long time ago now. That's I know that's just totally my opinion, but I've had people get so mad at me because I say, oh no, 1960s, those are modern movies. Anyway, I get myself in trouble with my family members and some friends over that. But did you know that there was a remake to this this movie though in 1960?
I did, yeah, but I have not seen it.
Yeah, it has Claude Rains and Jill St. John in it, and I have not seen it either, but I saw really horrible reviews of it, but I'm like, how did Claude Rains make a bad movie? Did he make a bad movie? Claude Rains can make any movie good, but I guess this one he didn't save. Honestly, Ginger, I didn't know until 3 hours ago that there was a sequel to this. So, or not a sequel, but a remake. And so I didn't see it either, and I'm kicking myself. But then again, I don't know if I have to pay for it to watch a really bad movie. I'm not sure I want to do that. But the movie made 1.4 million, and which doesn't sound like a lot of today's money, but it was a $700,000 budget, which was much larger than most budgets. They kind of went out on a limb, and they went on a limb in the movie too, with the gorilla or whatever that thing was. I don't know if I don't know if that's a gorilla or what that's supposed to be, but it's a it's a person wearing a horrible suit. And then if anybody listening to this, if you watch it, I definitely recommend watching it. You're gonna you might laugh a little bit about the overacting, but it's a fun movie, and for historical purposes to see these dinosaurs, and see the way they crafted those scenes really well. It's some
Yeah, I agree.
it's a delight. I want to talk also about Bessie Love, because I think that she shows off her talents as well. Do you agree?
I do. Yeah, she was pretty young when she did this. Was she like 27 years old? Or?
Yeah, she would have been 26. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And thing about Bessie Love is she's not Mary Pickford and she's not Clara Bow, but she's kind of like right there in a sweet spot in the middle. What do you think about that?
Um, I did look up Bessie, and she had quite a career.
Yes.
She really did. She just kind of fell into it, which is, she wasn't trying, really. And I guess those were the days that happened. The movie Intolerance, she had a small part in, and I got to go back and watch that. I had no idea that she was in that.
Make sure you make yourself a couple sandwiches.
Yeah, right.
You might be hungry by the end of the movie.
Right. So, and she did comedies and dramas, and had some real firsts for women in the business.
Yes, her career spanned 1915 to 1983. That is a long time.
Right.
Yeah, that's a long time. Lillian Gish I think she's always going to hold the title. She starred in a film in 1912 and starred, not like fifth billing, starred in a film 1987. So, and that's a 75-year span between having your first leading role and your final leading role. That's 75 years, and I think she's going to be the only one that gets that. I was telling somebody a while back, well, Kurt Russell might make it there, but if he really lives a long time, and Clint Eastwood's got a small shot, but I think Lillian Gish is going to forever have that 75 year record. I haven't been able to uncover anybody. There's been people with 72, 73, 74 year careers, and they're not headlining any movies, and they're not getting to 75 like Lillian Gish did.
Right.
But Bessie Love though got darn close. 1915 to 1983, tons of TV work, and later in life, and
Right.
and she obviously played old lady a couple times at the end of her career, but Bessie Love was just an absolutely stunning young lady, and she really does capture me when I'm watching. It isn't the same as Clara Bow, and it isn't the same as Mary Pickford, but it's like right there right there between the two. She's not as sultry as Clara is, and she's not as sweet as innocent as Mary Pickford is, but she's right there in the middle. I don't know. I just kind of felt that way. She was nominated for an Academy Award in 1929 for a movie I haven't seen, the Broadway Melody of 1929. I don't really dig musicals from the pre-code era because I feel like the sound quality is really bad, and it's hard really to get into that music. As much as I enjoy music from those years, the sound quality is just kind of rotten sometimes, and it kind of ruins music as far as I'm concerned. But um, but yeah, you can find all kind. There's I don't know about all kinds, but you can find interviews with her on YouTube if you look it up. There's interviews with her, and she'll talk about all the people she worked with, and it's kind of, she's got one really long interview on YouTube if you can find it. But it's really amazing. Um,
I saw one where she was probably in her 70s, and it was in the 70s that it was made, and I'm not sure the host, but she talks about her life and working in movies and stuff, and D.W. Griffith and how nice he was to her. It's really neat. She speaks very highly of everybody she worked with.
yes,
Which says a lot about her character, and it's like, well, she probably got a lot of parts because people like to work with her.
yes, and she wrote an autobiography in 1977 called "From Hollywood with Love," and so this is somebody that really appreciated her career, and we see so many people that when they become stars, they realize, oh no, I still have problems, but this is somebody who was really grateful for what she had, and it's
Right.
very clear, and I adore her for this, by the way.
Yeah, and I really saw that in that interview. Here she's an old lady and she's got this raspy voice. Yeah,
Yes.
and wow, she's had a lot of life, she's had a lot of career, and she's so wise, and she still speaks highly of everybody she worked with, and she was so with it. She
Oh yeah.
speaks eloquently, and she's talking, going on. I'm just like, wow, her memory she's really sharp.
Yeah, I was. It's amazing to be able to reach back and watch those videos from the '70s and the '80s on those talk shows, where the ones that still exist. You can reach back and look at these people and realize, hey, that is a legend right there. And Bessie Love is not one of those people that you talk about when you think, what, who are the great silent stars? Her name is going to be not mentioned in the first 20 names that you hear, but it should be, because she did have a career that went through the silent era, through the pre-code era, through the Hays Code era, all the way to the 80s. And it's like,
Right.
yeah, like what in the
I
world?
don't know if I don't know if any other. You said that she
Lillian
got
Gish.
an
Yeah.
Academy Award nomination for Broadway Melody, so she must have been singing.
Yeah.
I don't know if any other actor who went from silent films who could sing.
Yeah.
Do you?
No, not very many. I know Clara Bow sang in the movie,
Not well.
and yeah, not well, not well. Yeah, not well. I still love the song, by the way, and but it's because it's Clara singing, and I want to love it anyway. Mostly I just love watching her jump out of the poster. That's what I really enjoy. You know what I'm talking about. She jumps out of that poster, and they introduce her in the movie, and it's like, oh, this is awesome. But then she starts singing, and it's a little less than awesome after that. But yeah, and then and the sound quality, once again, not that
Right.
not that fantastic. But yeah, that's a very good point. There are many actors that bridged the gap from silence to talkies, but not too many that had to sing. And I
Right.
think that there was a time where people like you would get jobs in Hollywood because they could sing, and if you could act, that's a plus. But can you sing? And
That's right.
can you kick your leg up? If you can kick your leg up and you can sing, you are probably going to get a job in Hollywood.
When I had heard a story about Fred Astaire, and when he was first getting started, him and his sister used to dance.
Yeah.
Him and his sister Adele
Mhm.
used to be dancers, and I don't know if it was his screen test or something, that there was a producer who's, they were talking about whether they should hire him or not for this film, and he's like, well, he could dance and he can act a little, but he can't sing.
Uh-huh.
Which I thought was hilarious because Fred Astaire sang a lot.
Yeah, no, it is funny. It is. And you have yeah. Sometimes you have people that are shunned and then say, oh no, he can't sing or he can't dance or what or she can't dance or sing, but then we find out, later, no, they can do it, and maybe just tweaking this or tweaking that, you can do it. I mean, you're an excellent singer yourself. Is it one of those things where if you can do it, then you just need to learn how to harness it, or how does singing work? Like, if you can't sing, can you learn how to sing?
You can.
Uh-huh.
You can. You can. You can. A lot of it has to do with your ear, though.
Yeah.
If you can't hear that you're off key, it's going to be hard for you to match a note that you can hear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've heard people with lovely qualities to their voice where they have really good breath control, and they could make certain things with their voice, or they could remember the words and all that. But it just was like they're in their own key.
Mm-hmm. Right. No,
like,
there's.
When they're off.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when you are in a movie and you're trying to sing and you're an actor, I think sometimes you get a cut a little bit of slack on the singing thing. I think singers get criticized for not being able to act a little bit more than the other way around. I know people like Meryl Streep, who obviously can act. It's like, who knew she could sing too, but she was able to belt it out in the Mamma Mia movies, and it's like, yeah, who knew that? Nicole Kidman, in Moulin Rouge. Yeah, people. Yeah, it's interesting. I think actors like to sing, almost more than singers like to act. I may be wrong about that. I'm not sure.
It depends on your training too. I mean, I've known people who have been opera singers and are used to singing what they're singing in another language, or
Mm-hmm.
They're really trained to listen to themselves.
Yeah.
And that doesn't carry over into acting. When you go to the opera, the singers aren't acting. They're just singing.
Right.
And they don't really emphasize. So it's really hard to see what's going on because you don't see any emotion coming out really, because they're listening to their voice. They're listening to themselves. And, a lot of times the opera singers can't be actors because they're listening to themselves instead of listening to the other person.
Mm-hmm.
And reacting.
Yeah.
So it's really, I think it's probably pretty hard to teach a singer how to act.
Yeah.
If they're used to hearing themselves and listening to themselves.
It's a good. All are good points. All are good points. Very good points. Well, Ginger, bringing it back to the Lost World. Any final thoughts on this movie?
Oh gosh. Yeah, Bessie was great. She was really great in this part. She was really good in this role. The dinosaurs, I thought, wow, I was curious, and I don't know if you know this. Do you have any idea how long it took them to make this movie?
No, I don't. I'm going to guess at least a month, but...
Yeah, all that stop action animation takes a long time.
Yeah.
It really does. And I thought, man, this could have taken a year to make this.
Could be.
Started in 1924. So it could be even earlier. You know what I mean? When they came up with this this kind of animation and decided to do this. The other thing I was curious about, and I don't know if you know this, is where did they film this? Did they actually go to? Were they in the beginning? Were they in London?
with given the actors that were in it, I wouldn't be surprised because I think they have British ties. But I I do not know that for sure. I am looking it up. Maybe you can sing us a song while I'm looking it up.
I just noticed it in the beginning. I thought, wow, that really looks like London, because that looks like the same building that Mary Poppins sings about birds in Mary Poppins. I thought, wow, that would be really interesting if that's the same building, but it really looked like they were in London.
Yeah, I am seeing if I can see any sort of info on it that would tell me. Let me look at the. It looks like. I don't see any immediate information on it.
Okay.
On as far as where they filmed it. Um,
Huh.
yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh no, it was made in the United States. It was made in the United States. Yep,
Really?
yep, yep.
So that was either footage from London, maybe.
Yeah,
Or,
somebody. Yeah, it might have been stock footage, or it could have been somebody literally going over there and taking a few pictures and then coming back.
did they
You
have
know.
stock footage back then?
Yeah, I know. I know. Maybe they were creating stock footage for other filmmakers in the future. Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, and I thought the sets for the being in the Amazon. I know what I want to mention to you that or mention that there were a lot of real animals in this. We saw real
Oh,
bears and cheetah,
right.
a chimp,
Yep.
and we had an ape, and then we had a fake ape, the
Right.
man pretending to be an ape or an ape suit or whatever, and it's like that was
The chimp was great. The chimp was great, and the little monkey was great.
yeah. Do you
You
ever
know.
wonder how they do this with animals? Like, how do they get and like the bears? I mentioned before on this show, and I know I'm going to come off sound like get off my lawn guy, but I think it's amazing. Like one time I posted a picture on my Facebook page of Mabel Normand hugging a bear, and
Huh.
I said in the caption I said, if Mabel Normand can hug a bear, can't Harrison Ford work with a real dog? In that movie he made last year or 2 years ago. Like I don't understand. Why do you have to have a CGI dog? How do they work with animals though? It absolutely astonishes me how they could get animals to do what you want them to do. It's just
Right. Well, it could take a long time.
yeah, it probably
I
does.
imagine it could take a long time. This movie might have taken a while to make.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah.
When Clint Eastwood made Every Which Way But Loose with the orangutan, I think they used two orangutans, and they both will always hit their cues. So and they're smart animals though. But I'm not sure. How you get bears to do exactly what you want them to do, or a cheetah. And it was just cheetah on the set. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, I wonder if Bessie Love was close to that cheetah. That be
I don't know. I think things have changed a little bit since the 20s as far as working with animals.
yeah,
It
sure.
might have been really like casual and like, okay, bring in the monkey, and they just do it, and they shoot it, and they have an animal trainer there, and to make sure that things are okay. I worked on a commercial a few years ago, and they had a bear on the set, and nobody was allowed to go in the area where the bear was,
Yeah.
and it was all like they shot the bear and they shot the people, and it was just the funniest thing, because it was this big deal. Like, don't go near the bear, don't go near the bear. We couldn't be anywhere near the bear, and I think in the 20s that wasn't the case. They were like, bring in the bear.
Yeah, I think so. And I just find that picture of Mabel Normand hugging the bear so
Wow.
so sweet. you know, and but it's also, kind of scary. They can turn on
Right.
you. So but yeah, I mean, I recommend this movie, The Lost World. I don't think anyone's going to be super impressed with, with the all the, I mean, it's primitive. It's a primitive movie, with
Mm.
primitive graphics, but or primitive effects. But I think it showed where Hollywood had taken a really giant leap toward, toward modern filmmaking, and King Kong put it a little further, toward modern filmmaking, and 8 years later. But this is the movie that started it, and well, Ginger, I'm so glad when you come on the show. You bring sunshine to it, and it makes me happy. And
Oh,
so,
thank you.
I want you to tell everybody everything. Now we are recording this. Now I got to warn you, Ginger. We're probably going to be posting it about 3 months from now, believe it or not, because
Okay.
I kind of backed up, and I've got a lot of things recorded, in the can, and so, this will come on about 3 months from now, but we're talking, what like what is it? What is today? The 14th?
13th, I
Third,
think.
yeah,
Right?
13th, yeah, yeah. So in a couple of days, you've been cooped up, in California. You're going to be, able to go. You've been cooped up anyway for other reasons, you know, but the what do you have anything planned? I know you got a little, issue with your. Is it your leg or your foot? I forgot.
Yeah, my husband and I moved a couple months ago,
Yeah.
and in the new place we have some stairs, and I came down the stairs and in the dark and miscalculated the steps and broke my ankle. This has not been fun, but I am on the mend and I'm feeling great. I'm feeling much better and getting stronger, and I've still been busy. I've in late 2019. I took a job with the LA Library, LA City Library, as a clerk,
Uh huh.
and then the pandemic came, and the county of LA called on a lot of city workers to do what they call DSW work, which is disaster service worker. And there are a few different things you could do. You could go downtown and work in the homeless hotels. You could do COVID testing, and I was like, no, I didn't want to do any of that.
Mm.
And they said, well, what about this? We do a program called Senior Meals, where you work from home and you answer calls about people who need to get food delivered, because they're seniors and they can't go out. So I did that for 2 or 3 months last year, and then the beginning of this year, they called me back again and they said, well, we're going to start getting the vaccine to people, so we need people who can sit on the phone at home and help people make vaccine appointments. So I've been doing that since February, and I'm still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot less calls, getting a lot less calls now. So I've managed to stay busy and managed to stay doing things. And coming up here soon, my band's going to start working again. We're going to be playing the Cicada Club downtown LA,
Yes.
and we've just booked a wedding in Vegas. So 1920s wedding in Vegas. So that's going to be a
Oh.
blast. It's going to be so much fun. So just blessed to be working with this lovely couple that just loves my band and just can't wait to have us play their wedding. So it's just going to be great. So things are looking up for sure.
Well, I love your band too. As I said at the beginning of the show, and you've got, yeah, I mean, you're very accomplished. I mean, you've got Vintage America with Ginger,
Uh-huh.
and so, where can everybody find you?
Um, I have a YouTube page. You can subscribe to it. It just has a lot of everything that I do. I mean, the Wild Man and Kakadu is on there, and the a lot of the band's things are on there. A lot of my sketches from Conan are on there. If you go to subscribe to my page, you can see all the stuff that I've done as far as acting and screen work and that kind of thing. But Vintage America with Ginger is on Amazon Prime, and it's also on Tubi TV.
Yeah.
Which is great. Tubi TV has so many movies and shows for free. You just watch ads. It's really a great channel. And we're hoping we can do more episodes. Our biggest expense is travel, and not a lot of people are traveling right now and willing to do it. So we're just hoping to get picked up by a network or someone that wants to help us make the show.
Yeah. And I wish you all the best on that. But of course, if that happens, then I probably won't get to talk to you anymore. You'll be too busy. I want to say to everybody, yeah, definitely connect with their YouTube channel, Ginger Pauley, because I'm telling you, she's got some funny bits. I mean, you've got really funny bits on Conan. And yeah, I mean, you're just you've got a gift for comedy. You've got a gift for music, and your 1920s style. So this is let's see, we did one on Clara Bow, and pardon me, but what was the first one we did? One on, I'm trying to remember our first.
Well, we did Clara Bow, and then we did Mabel Normand and the
that's right,
ships,
and Mickey,
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And of course I liken you to Mabel Normand when in the Wild Man and Cockatoo, because you look exactly, if Mabel Normand was asked to do what you did in that scene, or in any of those scenes really, you were right, there with her. I mean, I don't know if you knew it, but you were channeling her. I mean, it's like, this is awesome. And I have a soft spot in my heart for Mabel Normand. You probably already know that, but
I do know that.
yeah, I have a very soft spot in my heart for her. I just wish that we, had her voice somewhere where we could. Yeah. Oh well. But anyway, yeah, I would definitely recommend watching your YouTube channel. It's great. But well, Ginger, you are a wonderful guest, and I really appreciate you coming on here and talking to me about the Lost World. And while I have you on here, I'm going to ask you, can you make it a fourth time sometime?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, David. I love having these discussions. They always go in weird directions. It's so much fun to talk to you.
Well, thank you. So that was Ginger Pauley, and we thank her very much for her fine opinions. Ginger has been in a lot of movies too, or worked with a lot of actors, and we are going to have her on again and talk to her about some anecdotal things involving actors she's worked with. It'll be a lot of fun. Well, thank you very much for listening to Cinema Chat with David Heath. I am your humble host, David Heath, and you've been listening to me speak with the lovely Ginger Pauley, and we really appreciate her taking her valuable time and talking to us about the Lost World.